Warming up. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy.
Now I got a spam.
Okay, YouTube monitor is up. Facebook is up. Hey Jay. Facebook link. I should find a duck puppet.
Why? Para unahan mo yung alarm?
Hey Pico.
One more time. A links shared.
Hey David.
Yes, we figured the perfect shirt would be Katya celebrating communist Russia to talk about groceries. I don't know. And before you ask, guys, yes, I made sure Toby's seen the RC Cola commercial.
I love it. I love it so much. I now am challenged for the next Halloween costume.
So random. Oh, and I have to tag Toby in the post.
You hate the commercial? Why do you hate it, David? Is it because you despise adoption? Is it because you can't wrap your head around, mga maboteng usapan?
What? Yeah, we're chatting with Nico about it also because he's like, he doesn't understand. And it's definitely one of those not meant to be understood. It's memorable and you talk about it.
Hey, Carlo.
And therefore, the commercial is effective.
This is 100% a thanks, I hate it commercial. Of course not. I mean, it even makes more sense than the current government. I mean, anyway, we are not ranting in this show. It is meant to be seen, not understood.
That's fair.
So is the commercial like jazz?
What?
Will Tube Guy refuse to stand down again in this episode? There's only one way we'll find out. Hey, Kenny. David, it's only shade if they get it.
That's true.
Because if they don't get it, it doesn't count as shade.
Oh, hello. It's so weird about AR.
Hello, Ryan.
Yeah, I say in my head it's always AR, but you're
Oh,
Ryan.
okay.
That works too.
I'm not sure.
Twitter.
Oh, okay.
We've also bumped into him at Pride.
Okay. Well, I'll admit I am way behind tweeting. I'm trying to respond to tweets now.
Wow, progress. Because we keep plugging it every show. Like follow Toby on Twitter.
But yeah, I don't know. Part of me is on the verge of just quitting Twitter. I don't know. We'll find out.
You quitter.
Yeah. 2 minutes and we shall officially start.
Yeah.
But yeah, that RC commercial is pretty good. It's like the say no to panda commercials in Japan, or the Nissin print ad campaign about the customer or the client having revisions done. You make them smile, make the cows run, and make them envious. Make the aliens envious of the cows and all of that. Yeah. Or like little babies ice cream.
Okay, that's not even a real. Oh wait, it is a real product.
Yeah,
though.
it's a real
Oh my
product.
god, little babies.
Little babies ice cream. Don't say no to the panda is funny. Does it make sense?
Look up little babies.
Now you have 1 minute to look up little babies ice cream. Go for it. Go for it.
That's already a classic. And
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 then
the reason and the fact that you were able to pull that into a role playing game. Oh my god. 905. Let me cue the caption.
timer starts now. This is Toby.
And this is Rocky.
And if it's your first time here, welcome to Baduy Pride, our little space on the internet where we talk about anything we want.
This is completely unscripted, not entirely accurate, but at least it's honest. Join us. We talk about everything and anything random live.
And if it's not your first time here, thank you so much for joining us again. We are in the 93rd episode. Crazy, isn't it?
Super.
And for this 93rd episode, we will spend at least 30 minutes talking about
groceries.
we wanted an episode that was again a bit more about our lives, about personal stuff.
Because this week sounds super confusing. Because originally we're supposed to do Precious tomorrow, and then Precious became Saturday because they have a thing on Friday. And then Dre, who's busy working right now, threw in a suggestion that we should do a Thanksgiving episode,
which was a genius idea.
Brilliant. But we figured we want to do that tomorrow. So then our discussion earlier was like, so we still don't have an episode for today. And we looked at the queue, and I swear to gosh, every time I roll for topics now from the queue, it keeps wanting us to talk about thruples.
on unrelated but news to be excited about, this came out.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. And if you are not sure what that is,
that stands for groceries.
That is from the OBAR website. So one can only wonder what's coming up with that.
Groceries.
Yeah, maybe they're doing groceries.
OBAR groceries.
Geez, not goodbye, is it? No, good game. Oh no. Maybe G Tonji will make a show.
Why G Tonji?
Because it's G. Maybe they have shampoo now.
Go on, explain.
G, your hair smells terrific.
Wow. Such a new brand that Toby decided to cite. All right, so
groceries. Today is our topic.
This is your idea. How do you want to talk about this?
So we thought we could just talk about everything.
Hello.
Everything related to groceries. Everything from how we map it out, our norms.
And RJ's here. Hello.
Things we observe people doing when they do groceries, what we like and don't like. More like, of course.
Yes.
Little techniques or strategies that we've adopted in doing our groceries.
Okay, so I think first off is that we'll talk about the now over delivery period. So as someone who would go to Singapore regularly, I got used to seeing my sister use Honest Bee all the time. And then when Honest Bee came to the Philippines, I was super excited, and we would Honest Bee our groceries a lot. Plus, they gave Shopback. They were tied up with Shopback at the time. So then I'm like, Toby, our groceries are mostly gonna be Honest Bee, and that was fine.
And they gave these really cool bags.
Oh my gosh, those Honest Bee bags, which we gave to friends.
We ended up giving them away to friends because we had so many, and they were perfect for bringing board games.
Yes,
they were perfect for bringing.
I miss Honest Bee
and stuff. Like if you have a party, well, back then, if you have a party in a friend's house and they have packed lunch and all that, they're perfect.
I knew it was the beginning of the end when Honest Bee stopped Shopback. When they stopped offering Shopback with Honest Bee, something was up.
Yes.
And then that ended, and I earned so many points from groceries. And then I danced around with a few other services like Metromart, which I was using even before Honest Bee, but always late. And then we did pushcart.ph, which is okay, but they tend to move the groceries. They don't have their own couriers. So your groceries come in boxes, and so your bread comes flat, your eggs may be broken. It wasn't great.
So we had those problems. We had problems also with, of course, when you have someone else do the shopping for you, it's not uncommon that certain items would not be available.
Yes. I mean,
And
even just on the online store, certain things are missing.
Mhm.
And then when they actually shop, there's going to be missing items not in stock.
and some services tried to circumvent that by having the buyer call to confirm if we'll replace it and this and that. But in the end, even sometimes with that, there were a lot of instances wherein we told them to replace it, and then when it arrives, oh, why is it this?
Yeah.
What happened? And
I remember there was like this one time there were these darn eggs that like they didn't include it. Then they had to, then it was broken. Then they had to deliver a new batch. It's so painful. And so, and then of
Mhm.
course there's always, I mean, when it comes to delivery services, there's always a lot of drama about how well they're compensated and what risks they have to take. And admittedly, it's not always ideal. So
in the end, we decided to handle our own groceries again.
yes.
Hey, Noel.
Hello. Especially
Especially
When I-
since we've returned. Yay!
Yes.
We've returned. We've returned.
I have a hard time finding the caption. There it is.
Okay, that was true guy wanting to. Okay, at least he's dancing now. He's not
Yeah.
staying up.
Oh, nope. Now he's just lying down.
Okay, that's enough.
Okay. So, and hey, Noel, thanks for joining. All right. So,
So we
So
had
it's-
internet services.
yeah, then especially when I shifted to keto and our vegetable requirements skyrocketed
Mhm.
because I need a lot of veg
Mhm.
to survive keto. Then we figured we start grocerying on our own, and then um, I think we still would occasionally try to do like online delivery from time to
Mhm.
time to like when we're feeling lazy. But then at the end, when quarantine hit, online delivery became impossible in
Mm-mm.
in the first few months. I mean, I know that there some services were still active, like Pushcart, but then there were no available delivery slots, or you would order today and maybe they would deliver it 3 days from now. So that really killed online delivery for us.
So jumping backwards in time though, prior to doing online delivery, we were huge Shopwise grocery people.
Oh, this is like when we were in Cubao, we
Yes.
lived next to Shopwise. And so I focused on Shopwise points. We gamed that system so well. The most brilliant being that before, if you brought your reusable bags on a Wednesday,
Yes,
on a Wednesday,
you'd have times 10 points.
times two.
Times
Times
two
two
points.
for all stuff that fit in the bags. And that's why we
Yes.
have a gazillion
Mhm.
reusable grocery bags because
It-
we put all of our groceries in the
It
bag.
reached a point that I think in a year we would have 2 grocery days that were completely paid free.
Yes, yes.
We would not have to pay a single thing for those 2 days in a year, only because of all the
Well, 2 grocery runs.
yes,
Yeah,
which was
so
it was huge if you think about it.
super awesome.
Yeah.
That went away eventually. They would just offer like some points for
Mhm.
if you use your bags and then your regular stuff. But
We also love the
it's good
fact
to support.
that for Cubao it meant an opportunity for parking space.
Oh yeah, because as long as you hit a certain shopping threshold, you had parking for 4 hours.
So we could park,
Watch a movie.
watch a movie,
then groceries.
do a bit of malling because we don't really do much malling. We're not the type to go shopping for clothes until like. But then after a while, we do our groceries and boom, yeah. So it's just kind of happy.
Oh, yeah.
Mina shares Picaroo has very good service.
I haven't explored
I have no
any
idea what that
services
is.
recently. So yeah, I had no idea. And then I know like even like Food Panda now has like a mart, a shopping service. Grab
Mhm.
has shops. But then yeah, we haven't. We have. Oh my God, Mina's here, and yes, she remembers the Wednesday grocery
Hi, Mina.
runs because you this we have to go grocery. We have to go. So that was every Wednesday.
Mhm.
Yeah, then we moved to BGC. So Shopwise was really was an
Mm.
option. I can use my Shopwise card at Marketplace, but then I think we ended up shopping at S. I mean, of all the groceries in the area, admittedly SM has the nicest assortment
SM Aura.
in BGC. SM Aura, yeah,
It's the best balance so far of what we found
yeah,
of assortment and acceptable price.
yeah.
Because there are some places that do also have a rich assortment, but then the prices are much more noticeably steeper. Or worse, they wrap everything in plastic multiple times.
Yeah. So and then there's the small Robinson's selections at Forbes which is just expensive and small, and
Mhm.
they don't have many things. Marketplace is okay, but then they only have weird expensive meat, so it was a weird option at the time.
Noel suggests go with Mayani for your veggies. You'll help local farmers by supporting them. Actually, I would love to do that. I'm always just nervous on how it works. I know there were a few we were interested in trying. Like there was one that was supposed to be the Baguio farmers. And there was
Session
another,
groceries
yeah,
and stuff.
but I never understand how to map out those schedules, where pickup will happen, and all this and that. So there's always that fear of we might order and then we'll start the week without veggies because things didn't go well, and I don't want that to happen.
And I know we tried a lot of these services at the beginning of quarantine because then like how do we grocery? There were I was testing every single like delivery service, and I could never get delivery slots for Session
they always
groceries
run out.
alike. So then it became like Toby has to
Let's
trek
do it.
to the grocery.
And suddenly I am, dressing up for post-apocalyptic travels.
Yeah.
Um,
But it's also because I'm always trying to game whatever point system there is. So the SM Advantage card is still SM Advantage card has a terrible conversion rate. It's like 1:200. Really, really bad conversion rate. You will probably spend more to renew the card than by points you would earn. But it is what it is. Especially if you grocery. Sorry, if you also use the card for gas and then for other shopping, that's the only time that.
I'm sorry, I saw Noel's comment.
Yeah, I saw that too. That's the only time that like the SM Advantage card starts to make sense if you also use it for other services. So we kind of went all in for SM, and because at the time it was like the only place in BGC that had decent supplies.
Your sister asks, why not? What about SNR?
Never bothered to get membership. I know mom will always say we can get an extension. And then
I always worry that SNR simply means we're going where everyone else is going. So the lines will be horrendously long.
it's a mixed bag. It's a mixed bag. And then there's a lot of PX style goods stuff. And then the vegetables are kind of large quantities. I mean
Everything's like mass wholesale.
I mean you can still pick vegetables by the kilo and stuff, but then there's like really big whatever deals.
Okay.
But then we never really like we just never really made the time. And then the parking on that particular SNR and BGC is stupid.
Mine adds Montana meat is very good in SNR.
Okay. We just go with whatever is at that SM counter. So it's like SM's become like our reliable place to go throughout quarantine. Plus, the whole time we do this show, we can see SMR from our window.
That's the one of the advantages. When I plan out a day to head out, I get to peek and
we can look
lots
at
of
the
cars.
parking.
I'll reschedule. Which was vital in the earlier parts of the lockdown. Because oh man, those were scary moments, and it was tricky in the wee hours of the morning because there would not be any lines because most, if not everyone, is already lined up inside.
Yeah, and then at least Toby going to SM, he would have comfy seating and he'd be waiting inside during the early quarantine period. Because unlike Marketplace, you would see the queue goes out to the street.
And around
Robinson's was also on the street. So yeah, SM became the reliable, okay place to go.
But sadly, no, Noel, they don't have it all for you.
Yeah, I mean, there were weird times like they didn't have eggs or there was no broccoli.
Or terrifyingly, there was a time there was no veggies.
Yeah, there was like, and then the long garlic shortage.
Yes.
Like, what's going on? Why is there no
To the
garlic?
point that I had to buy those peeled garlic in those styrofoam containers, which is basically old garlic they peeled so they can still sell it.
Yeah.
So let's go to groceries from start to finish. And start is, of course, planning.
Okay, to be fair,
Did you make captions, by the way?
no.
Okay,
To be fair, I don't. We didn't really list out our groceries before.
Yes. Admittedly, when we used to do groceries together,
Yeah.
we would be thinking of what we are getting while we're there.
Yes.
And
it's always like, oh, look, this nice.
and it had that joy of, oh, I want to try making something with that. And it's that those
you
type
could
of
you could
moments.
hear the Sims shopping music as you're going.
But with the start of the lockdowns, and as the rule was back then, only one person per household can go out. A rule which we feel we were the only ones
Oh yeah, because it
in
was always like
BGC
there were so
who
many,
followed it.
not just couples but families at the grocery, and then and because I now had to entrust Toby with all grocery shopping, it first resulted in very detailed lists
Written
on
lists.
paper. Yeah, and it was really like, I need this, I need this, I need this.
So your sister asked, so you don't menu plan, then plan list at the start? No.
Not
Until
before.
now, no. But
No, to be fair,
now we don't menu plan because we have set dishes in mind.
yeah, we have set
Mhm.
like, then Toby knows if I say I need tinola, then he'll
I
get me
already know
tinola
the
set.
set, but we haven't gotten to the point wherein we have
A
let's
super
say
fixed
Monday,
meal plan.
Tuesday we're doing this, Wednesday, Thursday we're doing this. At most, we know that
I can make this, I can make
yeah,
this, I can
and the
make this.
chicken, the chicken I'll make will not be on a Wednesday because that's when we might have games.
Yeah.
So
And it was really just, especially, I think a lot of it evolved from, we could prepare a list, but then when Toby gets to the grocery, it's like, this is not there, and this is not
Yeah.
there, and this is not there.
And-
so
and
we
while
were
that-
always adapting
yeah, and
to
while
what
that
was
still
there.
does happen,
Yeah, it's not as
Um,
bad now.
it got even more prominent with your keto diet.
Yeah.
Because with the keto diet, I can't just grab anything willy nilly. I can't like just go. I like this. I like this. I like this. Because when I get home, Rocky would
Points.
be like,
Points for Toby saying willy nilly. Willy nilly.
well, but it's true. So stuff like I know in the earlier parts, I nearly got fruit, thinking no veggies, then let's have fruit.
Yeah.
But then I realized you can't have fruit. I've learned to start looking at the
Nutrition
the
facts.
carb
Yeah.
count, the like in the back. I still don't do the math the way Rocky does.
It's
As far
not
as
that difficult.
as far as I'm concerned, if the carb count is not higher than 6, then that's probably keto friendly.
But we've had phone calls where I'm like, okay, Toby, I need you to look at the nutrition facts.
Yeah.
Okay, can you read it out? Tell me what's there. And then I can't find anything.
Because sometimes they don't have it.
Yeah.
Okay, Noel adds, they say never buy groceries hungry now. You'll end up buying more.
That's
I say that's
generally
kinda true.
valid.
I think that goes with anything except clothes.
Yeah.
Because if you're hungry, you'll not want to wear clothes and you'll want to hurry up. But then if you buy clothes while you're hungry, that means you're smaller in size.
In theory.
So you're cheating yourself and you're not going to fit in your clothes. Hi, Jed! So going back. So we don't prepare lists. We do prepare lists in the sense of making sure we don't double up. Because I, unfortunately, get enthusiastic in buying stuff.
Well, it's also because Toby has like trauma response. Because there was like long periods, for example, there was no shiitake mushrooms. And so then every time Toby sees shiitake mushrooms, he like gets them all. And then
I
suddenly
don't get
we have
them
like 10
all.
cans of shiitake
Okay,
mushrooms.
okay, that's 5 cans of shiitake mushrooms and 5 cans of the other mushrooms.
It's why we stock 4 cartons of eggs in the fridge at any one time. We are maintaining 4 because there were weeks in lockdown where there were no eggs.
Okay. We have 4 cartons of eggs because
Don't blame my baking.
because our normal is 2. Your baking needs eggs, and there was a time I was baking 2.
Yeah, but you haven't been baking for a
Exactly.
while.
That's why we haven't really had 4 cartons till recently again.
No, we've been maintaining 4 cartons throughout.
We tend to get large eggs. Medium is the second choice. So when they run out of large, we get medium eggs, but we don't like the small eggs.
We super prefer Bounty fresh eggs, mainly because the cardboard containers they've shifted to are better for protecting the eggs.
And I guess they're safer for the environment long term.
Hard to say.
yeah. But we've had more egg breakage from plastic containers than we've had from.
And those SM bonus eggs, it's like, what size are these supposed to be? Sometimes they're large, sometimes they're tiny. So I don't know. It's strange.
So yeah, so we map out the lists, and the lists help us keep track of everything. Whenever it's a post grocery day, and
It's my bounty list for Toby.
And
It's
they're-
like, find the following forager.
and there were enough veggies, the ref would be a garden. So we have portions in the ref that are for the older veggies, if any, and then portions where the fresh veggies are.
But
Um,
we clear the fridge every week. It
Yeah.
gets super full on grocery day. But
we
clear
love
it
our
every week.
lettuce,
Yeah.
so it's frustrating when they run out of lettuce. And then we need our garlic. So it's a minimum of 2 bags of garlic whenever I buy, as much as possible. We phased out onions. We used to have whites and reds.
Well, because they're also not like super keto
Yeah,
ideal.
so
So
we
we just
really-
have some.
Yeah,
Um,
we've stopped buying potatoes.
well, obviously.
We don't buy pasta.
There was a
We don't buy rice.
there was a grocery that Toby's like, I miss potatoes. Maybe it'll be I can stretch it more for food for me. Then it was this struggle for him to eat these potatoes. So
Well, it's
no
hard.
potatoes.
It's also hard to cook something which you alone will eat.
yeah.
So, admittedly, we still have pasta in the cabinet, and I just don't feel up to cooking it.
I have some shirataki that we probably have to use.
So the list is very important though when it comes to non-consumables, non-edibles. I'm sorry.
Consumables. What do you
so-
what are you buying?
So the soap, the detergent, and the
Oh
like.
my god, yes. It's we've had learning experiences in my like Toby, I need you to get this and this soap, this size, and then like stupid things like so like I don't know, we forever use safeguard white because I don't know, it's what my family would use and then we
Mhm.
still use it. But ideally I prefer the 135-gram size because it's like just right. But then it's like it's easy to just get the 175 because it's too big.
Mhm.
Like today, Toby got the 175 again
There's a reason I got those.
because there was no
No, it's
135.
times 18 points.
Ah, okay, fine. That's valid. Then that's
I
an
was like,
acceptable like
times 18.
points is fine.
Yeah, and it was surprisingly times 18.
There was one time Toby got safeguard and
The
then it was
minty-
white
some sort of minty.
and then it turned out to be this blue kind. It's like, why is our soap blue? So it's just strange.
Mina asks, where do you get almond flour?
Oh, can't get them at the regular grocery. I have to go to a specialty store. There is Real Food PH down the street, and I
Yeah.
think they also have a branch in Alabang. But they carry different brands of almond flour. The one I like the most, I can't remember the name. They have a store brand, which seems sketch.
Mhm.
So, but then when I have no choice, I get that. But yeah, Real Food.
Mina, I will, however, jump to your next statement. You use sayote to replace potatoes. I don't think it's keto.
No, it's fine.
Sayote?
Sayote's not terrible. But then,
because you avoid sayote.
no, I just prefer green papaya.
Okay.
It's
Okay. Good. Then
It's not so bad. It's gourdy. Okay, gourds are like not so bad. And then, yeah, and then like trying to get Toby to get Downy. It's like Downy Sunrise Fresh.
because there's so many colors and there's so many scents, and there's that eternal problem of that pride that comes with the detergent bar that we never use.
Yeah, we keep gathering detergent bar, and then I'm always like, it's like Toby's like, I can't see the Pride. If you're looking at the Tide, it's behind you. It's like they're never on the same shelf. They're opposite sides. So I still get Tide original for whites, and I still
Mhm.
get Pride washing machine detergent for
Mhm.
coloreds. I probably don't need to. And yes, we're still using powder instead of liquid. So because liquid's more common elsewhere. And I'm always sketchy about liquid because it gets clumpy, especially if you buy at like SNR and stuff. And sometimes you stumble across old stock. Then it's like weird, lumpy, whatever, weird viscosity. So I'm still a powder person. So it's been weird shifting all grocery responsibilities to Toby. It results in very difficult phone calls when he's at the grocery and I'm not, and he's trying to talk to me through a mask
Mhm.
and a face shield,
Mhm.
and it's really
What else? There's the challenges, of course, of sometimes identifying things. For example, baking soda is different
oh my gosh, from baking
from
powder.
baking powder, and sadly, even the people in the grocery don't know that. Yes.
Ay, nako. Yeah, so
Um,
it's super like and then it's really like Toby sending me pictures of the shelf and like, hey, what's that?
Which
What's
is
that?
a tip. If you are doing shopping and you're not sure, your phone can take photos. Take advantage of that.
But as was a tip in another video, make sure you have a pre-approved chat platform that you know you're supposed to go to.
Yes.
We've had cases where Toby's messaging me on Messenger, but I'm defaulting to Telegram where I put the whole grocery list.
Mm.
Eventually, we gave up on the paper list and
Well,
shifted to
admittedly,
Telegram.
I also at first wanted to separate them so the list is there and I can switch to the photos. But then it became clunky, so I now try to keep it in Telegram as well.
Yeah.
Another thing to keep in mind that some groceries do have a sort of wholesale corner. So like
Yes.
in SM Aura, when they ran out of vanilla extract, I found out that they have a gallon of vanilla extract as an option.
in the that's the rear
Yeah,
right
in the
corner.
rear. So,
yeah.
And I share this not because we use it, but because if you might find yourselves determined
Desperate.
or desperate for
Yes.
something, then don't forget. Like if they tell you to go in this shelf and you don't see it, don't forget to ask. Dun sa mas marami or dun sa wholesale, baka meron. Like they have tuna there by the
Yeah,
by the huge
by the
containers.
by the fish.
They have food coloring by the gallon, and it's like crazy.
A lot of people are asking about our grocery route. What is our route, Toby?
So SM, when you go in, they will always remind you, shopper's tip. Buy everything, blah blah blah, and get your perishables last.
We don't do that.
And they always they do that because it is a smart tip in the sense that at least your perishables are not away
From the cold
from
longer.
the cold the longest.
But to be fair, the cart is always right next to the area with the bread and the eggs and the veggies.
For us, we've gotten used to doing that first because those tend to be the items that also run out first.
Yeah. Before we would grocery in when we're still grocerying together, we grocery in the evening, and so there's like an after work crowd who is like trying to finish all the broccoli before me. So so our route would start that way. I actually the very first thing is typically eggs, which is funny because then the eggs are now are parked in one corner of the cart the whole time. And then the veggies start coming in, and then the frozen meat. So it's like all the frozen meat and veg come first. To be fair, ever since I shifted to keto, this probably makes up what 60% of our groceries. Most of our stuff is fresh stuff. So it's really important that we get them first.
So in terms of route, the moment I get the cart, I then move to the right, which is the left, which is the initial.
Oh well, right from the cart. Oh, that's true. Right from the cart rack. Okay.
Yeah, because I'm facing the cart.
Yes, you're facing the cart.
So you have the initial area, which is a lot of the salad dressings, Parmesan cheese, breads, and the fruits your mom likes, which is inkamas and the like. So from there, I consider whether do I make a sinkamas run for your mom.
That was in the early days.
But lately we haven't been doing that.
because her grocery supply is fine.
And then I then debate with myself, will I get bread for myself this time or not? Because I do still like making sandwiches.
Punishment carbs. These are Toby's punishment carbs. He buys carbs for himself, and then midweek is all like, I still haven't finished the bread.
Because they used to go bad real quick. And that's until I started keeping it in the freezer.
He's been keeping the bread in the freezer.
It works. Okay, so from the bread, I then go to the eggs, which tends to be the first moment of panic. Because I would go there and I'm like, then I'll call, Rocky, there's no eggs. Oh no, there's no eggs. Or there's only small eggs. or there's only these weird
omega-3
bio-enhanced eggs. Do I risk it? Do you want those? Because I don't know.
What annoys me about those eggs that they come in 10s and not 12s.
Yeah, they're so expensive. So after we get the eggs, which is normally 2 cartons, I then load it up and then I pass through the valley of death, which is fruits. And I'm always so tempted to get fruits. There were times that I'd buy some pears and then I'd buy some apples.
You really don't need to buy fruit because your mom keeps sending fruit.
That's the thing. I think my mom senses those times when I used to buy fruit, so she started sending fruits as well. So I started to panic having too much fruits in the house that I alone have to eat. So I kind of stopped buying fruits, but then my mom also. I did ask mom to stop sending fruits for a while because the fridge gets overfilled. But I might consider having fruits again.
Because he's the only one who can eat the fruit.
So past the fruits, we then get to the tofu kimchi section with the mushrooms. And I love grabbing mushrooms when I can. And then from the mushrooms, we then go to the
Mostly
vegetables.
oyster, and then the enoki ones. And
Yeah.
yeah.
So the initial vegetables would start with the baby eggplants, and after the baby eggplants,
Toby has fallen in love with baby eggplants. He
Because
likes roasting them with
they're
the chicken and the pork
awesome.
chops.
and they're not as large a hassle in all senses of the term to natural large eggplants.
Plus,
Um,
Toby has terrible eggplant luck with the big ones. Whenever he buys the full size
I
eggplant,
always find
he
the
gets
ones
the one with the worm.
Always, always. In fact, the worst was when I had 3 worms in one eggplant. I just told myself that's extra protein. So,
No, we don't eat the worms.
so we get the veggies. After veggies, I beeline for the chicken. I used to be so afraid in picking chicken. Now I've kind of learned that if you're getting chicken that's already chopped up, get the quarters because the quarters got the butt and the leg, and that's yum.
He's super happy with that.
If you will get
David says you're the worm whisperer.
if you're getting breasts, however, be careful that you don't just grab breasts without looking because
Yes, be careful and don't just grab breasts without looking.
some
Chicken breasts.
some chicken breasts lose the skin, so you might want to make sure you get the ones that still have the skin.
Okay, to be fair, because Toby's looking at fillets. Okay,
Yes.
and then
And then
he tries to get the skin because that's it's meat. So.
Yeah. And then you want to get a nice full chicken if you can. They tend to have those on the side. I've learned to eye it by price to make sure it's the right size for us, which is don't exceed 210 pesos. As long as it's within 180 to 200.
Toby's getting
That's
Bounty
fine.
Fresh, by the way.
Yeah.
Typically, sometimes Magnolia, but typically
Yeah,
Bounty Fresh.
but Magnolia always looks like
They're sad.
They look like they're models. They're trying to be thin and sexy. So I don't like that. And then we go to the meats. And for the meats, I always start with the ground stuff first.
Mm.
Only because there's a 10-20% chance that while I'm waiting for the ground meat, they'll bring out a new supply of butterfly cuts. And when I used to do the butterfly cuts first, it's always after they're wrapping it that someone comes along and starts putting new ones. And I'm like,
I don't know the logic of this, but okay, this is new Toby stories. He hasn't told me this.
so I'm always frustrated when that happens.
And we get butterfly cut because Toby's like, it's more fat for me.
Yes, it's more chicharronable portions for Rocky, which I can do when I cook it. And then after the meats, that's when we go to the cold section. So we have butter, we have
Dairy.
sausages, we have dairy, we have our different types of butter and our different types of cheese. We have the unsalted butter. We have the butter in the small metal red tins.
Queensland.
Queensland. there
How
you
come
go.
you not know the brand until now? It's Queensland. Queensland butter
it's
for
a
my
name.
keto pandesal.
It's a name. Haha, Mom is watching. Oh my gosh! And yes, Mom, we do put I put the bread in the freezer. Okay.
Which results in him defrosting bread in the morning, expecting to eat it in the afternoon.
And that's fine because I've kind of followed your cutoff as much as possible.
Yeah.
I don't eat anything till 2 p.m. There are times I still cheat because I'm not following the diet, but I've kind of gotten used to it. Let's go through the comments real quick. Jed mentions, after handling breasts and meats, don't forget to wash your hands. Yes, that's a good thing you brought up, and I do that. There is a sink, thankfully, in SMRL.
The sink is kind of sketchy sometimes.
Yeah. So I first thing I do is I turn on the water, I basic rinse, and then I soap my hands. Then I soap the faucet, and then I rinse off my hands, and then I rinse off the faucet, and then I turn it off. Because you can never be too careful. And I also still carry alcohol. So from there, we then go.
Oh, my mentions Marketplace sometimes is good. Buy one 500. Yeah, Shopwise would have the same deals, but then sometimes it's Australian meat. Because the Marketplace here it's BGC, so it's kind of hoity. So
and we
not
have
fun.
gotten some of those, only to discover our freezer can't fit.
Yeah, we can only do so much. So maybe not so much. And then
My mom is commenting on a personal level. Check eggplant if it has minute holes, and then they would have worms. I do try to check,
but they hide from Toby.
Yeah, and some of them are good at hiding, and then it's only like 4 or 5 days later you're like, wait, this has a worm, and it's funny how they do that.
Toby's friends.
It's trickier also with the cauliflower and broccoli because they hide in the base where the leaves are.
Yeah, yeah, which is fine because I clean them thoroughly as I chop them up. So as I'm chopping and I reveal stuff, then I wash stuff
There
out.
was that terror shopper who was like poking a finger in and peeking, and I was like staring at the person, and suddenly my feelings were, it's either I wait and let that person open everything and touch everything. So I went close and I'm like, "Hmm," and then I started grabbing the ones he hasn't touched to buy them. I didn't want to risk it.
Toby's a very aggressive shopper.
I don't like running out of the veggies.
Mina mentions Kerrygold butter is nice. I mean, I think that's the one you gave us the cheese or something one Christmas. That was great. Although we don't get a lot of great variety at SM Aura, especially for foreign stuff. So it's like and typically getting unsalted butter. So the unsalted butter we end up. I'd rather get Magnolia Gold, but we kind of fall back to Anchor if it's not there.
Yeah.
But then the last time Toby suddenly like randomly had Emborg and like, oh, there's really no butter
because
So-
SM has those moments where people seem to shop and buy everything.
yeah.
Remember when we were really into cranberry juice and then suddenly it just ran out.
That was Shopwise.
Oh, that was happening.
Yeah. So we work with what's available. And then we try not to generate additional stores that we have to go to. So it's SM or bust.
So moving forward from the cold section, we then go to the chicharron area for Rocky, which we also get the water for our vodka drink,
Soda water.
which is worth buying the bonus because it's just water anyway.
It's just carbon. I mean, we keep thinking, should we get a carbonation machine? But then how do we refill the canisters?
Yeah.
And like, I don't know what the cost equation is. So for now, just buying soda water is fine.
And then it's the new valley of death for me because I'm staring at all the chips and the cereal and the cookies.
Toby keeps coming back
And-
with weird cereal, and then he regrets it immediately. Every time he tries a new one, it's like it's weird banana, So
Because I get caught staring at, oh look, all new flavor. Gotta try it out.
and then it just adds to his punishment carb. So you'll see him having cereal for dessert after dinner because he has to keep eating both. He has to keep eating the cereal and moving the milk because he's the only one drinking the milk.
But yeah, that's where we also get our coffee, which is occasionally the beans, occasionally the
The
ground,
ground.
depending on what's necessary for that time.
Although we don't have ground this week.
Yeah,
So.
we'll have to catch up. And then from there, we then go to the seasoning and oils and canned good stuff. So it's there that I had my initial sense of panic with the seasonings because for some reason someone attacked all the black pepper. And the only black pepper you could find are those sachets, yung one-time use sachets.
Yeah.
Which I know a lot of people use and it's very convenient for them. But for me, I'd feel guilty about all the plastic that will generate. So I'd still rather get a large refill bag that at least we can,
Because it has MSG. We actually don't have MSG.
yeah.
In the house. I mean, I'm not against MSG. We just don't have it.
And
We don't maintain
I think in many ways we stick to just more natural MSGs lately, which is, when you roast garlic, when you cook bacon.
Natural umami, but
Yeah,
not
the natural
necessarily
umami,
MSG.
yeah.
Although my chicharron probably has MSG. Yeah, that's good stuff.
And then olive oil. We always get olive oil. We don't use cooking oil. We don't use the other oils.
Olive oil is a cooking oil.
No, I mean the canola oil.
Yeah.
We don't bother to
I'm
get
just
those.
teasing you.
And then that's when I attack the mushrooms, the canned mushrooms, because I know there's like two people who are my enemies, and I've seen them in the supermarket a few times. That they're getting so many, even if there's a sign that says only 8 cans per person. So
I didn't realize there's a sign now. I haven't seen it in a while.
there used to be in the earlier parts of lockdown.
Yeah.
Now there's only signs for the ones that have the times 18 points, a maximum blah for SMAC card holders,
Okay.
which is a misnomer because SMA card holder or something.
SM Advantage card
Yeah.
holder.
So I would like park my cart.
Toby has
beside it.
enemies. Of course, Toby has enemies at the grocery.
And sometimes I'd be like, I'd break into conversation, like, you like that brand because that other brand's interesting too. And then while they're looking, I'm getting. So that's strategy. See, now I'm telling people my strategies, and if I shop with them, they know. Um, what else? So we like the mushrooms. We get three types as much as possible.
Yeah, there's pieces and stems na button mushrooms. There's shiitake, and then recently we discovered straw.
Yeah, and
Those are
the
nice.
straw mushrooms are nice. Mushrooms that like they're like
I mean, we get some fresh ones from the cold area, but then
Yes.
the canned ones just last longer.
mhm.
So our canned goods are mostly vegetables,
and
also.
and
Well,
the canned
fungi.
ones seem to, at least for me, I'm more comfortable using them for the baking stuff.
Yeah, they're a little hardier
Yeah.
because they've been like brined or whatnot, and
Yeah.
they survive.
So from there is then that's when I then shift to the non-edible stuff. So the soaps, the towels, the tissue, the
Yeah, then this is always like
detergent.
I feel like this is the part of the grocery list that stresses me out the most because then I've left Toby very specific instructions for things I want.
Because it's confusing to shop and not really know for certain.
Today's like I need the Mr. Muscle mold and mildew
And-
spray
and-
for the back.
And sometimes they have all these variants like the Mr. Muscle the spray.
Yeah, not to be
I'm
confused
fam-
with the kitchen spray
Yeah.
and toilet spray.
And then I'm familiar with the spray, but they didn't have the spray today.
Yeah.
So I was like, is it okay to get the refill? But I didn't want to come home with a refill, and you're like, what will I do with that? Spray it around? So it's stuff like that. We find ways to make the list easier to understand, and part of the panic for me is because promos happen. So sometimes you'll have the basic Tide thing available, but then they connected a Downy to it. So does that mean it invalidates the Downy I should buy, or it's stuff like that?
There was one grocery where Toby bought like all these different promo packs, which just had like 2 Downies, 2 Tides, and then each of them were bundled with like
Other smaller soaps
SM
or
bonus tissue, SM bonus paper towels, and these are all
something. Low quality stuff.
sad toilet paper things. It's
Mhm.
like we don't. There one ply sad things that we use for cleaning, but not
Mhm.
like for guests.
So once that's done, I do one last run in the baking and snack section to see if I will give in. And I tend to stare longingly at the flat tops and curly top section. Or I'll like carry the bag of flat tops, that huge bag, and I hold it like a baby. And then people will be looking at me, and I'm like, because there was that day, and some of you have probably seen it in Facebook when I posted that they ran out of flat tops. Horror. I check that's my last run on the salad dressings just to check
yeah.
if I should grab one. And then that same section is where I get your chocolates, which is the dark chocolates with the almonds
Hmm.
and sugar free. And from then I line up. And in SM Aura, the line gets interesting when there's a lot of people because there are design systems on where people wait for specific counters.
Yes.
And the signs used to be like taped on the top, but as of the late they've vanished. So now you have people waiting alongside aisles. And when new people show up, there's this, it's almost like a nature channel territorial fight. Because you see the person with the cart looking at one of the grocery lines. But then the people waiting are now staring at that person. Sort of like, no, I'm here waiting for that.
We're in queue.
And if the
It's just that
person
there's a big gap in the
but
queue.
in the space in the middle, sometimes the person will just go straight there and wait, thinking there's no one in line. And that's when you have a lot of people in the back. It's like- and I tend to be the one, excuse me, we're in line. And then the person look, ay, sorry.
But someone always tries.
But there's always those moments, and it's sometimes funny. It's sometimes also understandable because it's not clear. And then you'll have the SM people walking around with their signs, 1 meter distance, 1 meter distance.
social distancing officers.
Yeah, but they aren't really helping the people go to where they're supposed to go. So that's interesting. Yeah, that is a day in the life of Toby doing groceries. Post grocery, I would then consider if there's time to rush and
Wait,
grab
we're not
stuff.
done. You should talk about bagging.
Oh yes, bagging. Bagging is like the Two Towers portion of Lord of the Rings.
Why 2 hours?
Because I'd get there and I know my usual routine is first hand the card, then hand the bags and tell them, please put them in the bags.
He always stresses, madami yan.
Because if you don't tell them that you have a lot of bags and you want to use them all, they will think it's better to pack everything in the less number of bags to carry. Which means when you get home, your bread is doing yoga and your vegetables are now balls. So there's that need to remind them not to squish your groceries. Spread
Because
them
we
out.
have like a good, 8-10 bags.
Yeah. And then they also have this tendency for some reason to put everything heavy in one bag.
It's
So they'll have
like all the cans
and the
and
bottles, in one bag.
Mm.
And I'm always pakihiwalay and all this and that. So it's stuff like that. We always have them bag them on our reusable bags. The only thing that gets plastic bags actually currently is the cold stuff.
Yeah.
Um,
But that's get put in a usable bag.
yeah, and those bags we dry out after rinsing them because we use them as trash bags and the like for the wet garbage and for the bathroom.
Yeah, we need to maintain some degree of plastic in this house.
So thankfully, I don't often use my bag techniques because when I do the groceries, it's still all within my capable shoulders and back strength.
When we used to grocery together, like there's a few times we get the grocery together now, there's like this increased probability that once we hit the counter, the bagger who has been bagging at the counter
Will leave.
disappears. And then Toby gets so upset. And then he's like, what happened to your bagger? And then he walks to the end and starts bagging
Mhm.
because he'd rather just get it moving.
And it's frustrating because you do see sometimes the baggers just nagchichikahan and talking with other people
Or slowly moving carts
Yeah.
around.
And I know you baggers, when you offer to make, you'll be the one to bring the cart to the car, you're just leaving the bagging area.
You're just trying to get away from the
Because
counter.
you're walking very slow when I see you walk back. I know you. But I understand because, SM should pay you more. I hate the fact that it feels weird to tip them. I don't think you can tip them officially because I don't think they're allowed to have anything in their pockets.
That's true.
So it's always that weird middle ground to do that. And then I hate the fact that I don't really see people return their cards. It's not something people do in this country, it seems. So I tend to be bringing cards back, and I get weird stares, and that's their problem, not mine.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder if we implemented like the Singapore style systems where you could put a coin. You have to put a coin to get the cart, and then later.
You can get the coin back when you return the card.
Yeah.
That would be nice, but
Technically, they have the provisions for it,
Yeah.
especially when you see that extra small chain. But then it just never caught on here
Mhm.
for some reason. Or I guess they assume people will steal carts.
Pico shares, I can relate in the bagging part. It's frustrating they place the heavy stuff in one bag. Yeah, and
Or worse, it's heavy stuff, then eggs on top. Then like, what's the point of this bag?
I sometimes think it's just them really trying to make everything, in one go, you do it. But I guess it's not for me. I don't prefer to carry stuff in one side. That then makes me imbalanced and my strength is not properly distributed. It makes it hard to walk and press buttons in the elevator if everything's on one side. What else? There was the panic of seeing Goldilocks disappear. It's back. It's now where
moved.
it's now beside the payments area.
So it's where the cart park was.
The cart park, which used to be in the dulo of the food center.
No, wasn't there a cart park? Okay,
It is near the bathrooms where the watch and key repair place was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's there now. So it's
Sorry, it's like this is news to me because I don't go to groceries.
So it's now more
regularly.
tempting because it's where I go down to the cars and I like see it and like, oh, egg pie. Yeah. Pet peeve: the cart and the counter. They don't put it back.
They leave it at the counter.
Yeah. I think. Okay.
I think at the very least you should push the cart through.
And at least have it outside. So because I know it's good to have carts there because when people are checking stuff out, sometimes their cart is still filled up, so they need an empty cart that they can fill up with the groceries.
No, but then she's like, yeah, but there are those people who empty the cart
and leave it
and
there.
leave it before the
Yes.
counter. And like, what the
Yes.
heck? Am I supposed to move it for you?
I've called out some people for doing that. Like there was this couple who
Toby is never ashamed to call out people.
they separated the groceries. I guess they were paying for things separately. So the woman had her stuff, and then she paid, and then the guy was packing it, and the bag guy left to get another cart. So the guy was putting his stuff out, and then paid, and then as the guy was, moving his stuff to the cart, they just left the cart, and I was like, "Excuse me, this isn't my cart." And they stared at it, and I was like, "You brought it here. I'm not touching it." So they were like, "Hey, sorry, sorry, sorry," and I'm like, "You're not sorry." And then I just move it. But that's me, because we're all adults.
Sylvie is so cranky at the grocery. It's awesome.
We're all adults, so I don't need to tell you to zip your fly.
But he
don't
will
leave your
tell
cart.
you. So
Um,
that is the lesson here, is that you will tell them. So
and at the same time, people are so rude to the grocery people. I mean, like, they don't use the plastic for the wet stuff, so they like to leave their wet groceries everywhere, and you'll see them struggling to clean it, or they'll complain when the counter clerk has to call the manager for this and that. Nabait ang tagal, and I'm like, isa lang ang manager. So, and there's systems that could be better, admittedly, but don't blame the staff. They aren't equipped to make those changes.
or the random vegetable you get that, oops, no price.
Yeah.
Price check. Price check.
Um.
I miss Shopwise because they had them on roller skates for
Those are
no
fun.
practical reason. I mean,
I like that they also could see better.
yeah, it made it feel like they were trying to be faster, but then I felt like they also had to be very careful about where they were going.
And then what else? Lately, due to lockdowns, I've noticed an increase in promo items for ice cream. There's a lot of buy one, take one, or buy the gallon and get the pint for free. I think it's because a lot of it did not move during the earlier weeks. So
It's not essential.
So keep an eye out for those. Um, what else? Yay! Alcohol is no longer prohibited, so you can buy alcohol.
Technically, when we look back, there was never a liquor ban in Taguig, but the malls just implemented a liquor ban,
just to be safe,
thinking that it was, because it was inconsistent that there was liquor ban here and not here and the like. So, yeah, so we hence our weekly drinky episodes on Friday. That's been fun. And then so apart from all that, I still have my short keto supply runs to the nearby Real Food.
Yeah, I can talk about that.
So that happens maybe at least 2 weeks, where I know I can order from Keto Filipino. The Keto Filipino Bake Shop directly. But then I always get intimidated because I think it's one of those deals where you order online and then you have to send your own Grab delivery person to pick up the order. That always weirds me out. So I'm okay to pay the markup that Real Food puts on it just to buy whatever they have in stock. And then that's also where I get my keto pandesal ingredients, which includes my psyllium husk and my almond flour. That's also where I get my keto peanut butter and sometimes keto cookies. But I try not to get too many snacks. Like, I mostly get the ensaymada cupcake things from Keto Filipino or the triple threat sampler. And then I can have one a day, and I just stretch it for whatever.
Jed mentions the pet peeve of falling in line with an empty cart. Then they go shopping and bring the items with them. One time there was no one tending the cart, so I had to move it forward for them. I know a lot did that because the lines were really terrible. And
but yeah, that's like a bit of a joke.
The closest I had to that was it was a team effort, which was already the strike one. There were 3 people in front of me. One person manned the cart, which meant that person had headphones the whole time and didn't really pay attention to anything but moved the cart every now and then. And then you had 2 people jumping back and forth, grabbing what they needed. And what really irked me was that, why is there 3 of you? So at one point, I know I did ask them that question. When the guy came back with the stuff, I was like, "Hi, is she with you?" I said, "Yeah, anak ko." "Oh, I thought kasi 1 lamp per household." And the guy just left, and but that's me. So
Mitch was asking, what is the item you always buy when you do the grocery run? Well, I guess, like, mainly because of keto, then it's always a lot of eggs, a lot of vegetables, and then meat.
Yeah.
So that's like, I swear, it is 60 to 70% of our grocery is just that.
And it's almost always that. There's a few variances every now and then. there is that desire to look for other things. Like lately, there's as we mentioned in another episode, there is the market now that shows up in this building every
Okay,
Fridays.
they've been showing up since the beginning. It's just that
Yeah.
the vegetables are sad.
But we've basically started enjoying getting salmon from them
yeah,
because it's now part of the diet that we have salmon nights. So that's yummy. We've done shrimp. It's painful to
or
prepare.
prawns. Yeah, it's
Or
literally painful.
They say shrimp, not prawns. I don't know why.
Vincent argues it's prawns based on the size
Yeah,
because some of them are really big.
yeah. And then there is the temptation to try other fish. But it's always I don't know how to prepare that. Or,
Yeah, so Toby we just got Toby comfy with baking salmon, so that's fine.
or like the temptation to start doing sinigang again or stuff like that.
It's just that, and I don't mind. It's just that it's always a challenge to if we do sinigang, then we have to not do other soups, and then it like skews the vegetable ratio because then we have sinigang vegetables are a lot, and then shorter lifespan.
And a number of them are not keto. So no potato, no
Okay.
string beans.
Okay, you don't
Sorry, that's
potato.
nilaga. That's nilaga.
Gabi.
Yes. You know Gabi.
So yeah,
What's
we
up,
could,
Sean?
we could you only have labanos and kangkong and okra and
For
that's
you,
about it.
sister.
Yeah.
Sayote.
We don't have sayote. And that may have been tinola, but definitely not sinigang. You're just naming vegetables random. Okay.
Oh, and I'm always tempted to buy those eggplants that look like balls rather than long eggplants. Do you buy those? Because do you like cook them just like normal eggplants?
They're just eggplant.
Yeah, but I'm like,
Or do you want aubergine?
But since they're like round, does that mean they take longer to cook or something? Do you have to pre-soak them?
Because your context is always roasting. Okay, you roast everything.
Because when I fry things, the dish is angry at me and I always get burnt. You've seen me dodging mushrooms flying at me when I'm frying things.
Because the mushrooms have water and you're putting them in oil, so therefore they will react unless you take more time to drain them, which is a hassle.
Mhm.
Which is also why I cook in pots and not sometimes like I just don't want to deal with spatter.
Okay, so yeah, we are nearing the end of an hour. Any last few things about the grocery?
I miss going to grocery together. I will
Mhm.
admit it's not something. I mean, I know we can, but then we still don't.
Yeah, it still feels wrong. I mean, it feels wrong to do anything that has more people in the same place.
And then Toby's grocery runs are midweek because on the weekends SM Aura
Still gets
is
really
crazy.
crazy long.
And then whenever we see that many people, like the one time we went out together on a weekend, and then we had to park in B2 or B3.
And then they were setting up chairs in front of the
Grocery.
supermarket,
And it's
which
like-
was similar to the earlier weeks of lockdown.
then it's like maybe not.
Mhm.
Maybe not. Admittedly, when we see a lot more people, then it gets stressful. Then never mind.
Yes.
It's also why I haven't bothered with places like Marketplace and Robinsons because before every time I would pass by doing other errands, I would see the queue is still outside. Like I don't want to queue.
Yeah. I do miss going to a wet market.
Yeah.
I remember
Cubao
Cubao had
was
that
awesome.
joy of going to
Farmers market.
the farmers market. They would have all the fresh seafood to choose from. There was that small area which actually sold sushi that was good grade and clean.
Mitch has a good point. Mrs. Grocery runs now. It's almost Amazing Race. Yeah, it's become very functional.
Mhm.
It's like quick in, quick out, and then don't linger. Whereas before, you'd kind of be like, before we would go practically aisle by aisle, and then be like, "Ooh, that's nice. Oh, let's
Mhm.
get this."
And
Ooh.
then add to that the frustration of people not following the arrows.
Oh yeah,
Ah.
because of the one directional malls.
I mean,
thing.
it's not too hard to just go around the aisle so you're following the arrow, but people don't. And more often than not, it's groups of people who don't. And oh my god, I don't complain sometimes anymore because there's just too many people who don't follow.
Yeah, so Toby comes home from grocery very stressed and very uncomfortable, and I can't comfort him
Mhm.
yet because he has to go through decontamination.
So I miss wet markets. I miss community markets. Like we
like
could,
the Salcedo part.
yeah, we could
stuff.
walk into those and then we'll see stuff. And
I mean,
then,
like Aura has their weird thing on the weekends, but then it's always been a little hoity and
Mhm.
more on baked goods than like fresh stuff.
mhm.
Not like going to Salcedo Market and stuff. And we could theoretically drive over, but then
Again, more people,
less
not what we
travel.
want to do.
We try not to travel so much.
What else? What else do I miss about groceries? I miss them having those promos when they print out the receipt.
Oh yeah, at the end. That's
It-
more.
it-
That was more a Shopwise.
Yeah,
thing.
but it used to be a fun thing of, oh, what will have a discount this time? And they're like, oh, we don't buy this or something. But it was always fun to look at that because they have really long receipts, right? So it made it kind of fun. But yeah, no more Zen discovering things in the grocery. Yeah, that really captures it.
I don't miss queuing up for raffles. Remember, like when groceries and like, oh,
That
then
was also Shopwise.
that was mostly Shopwise. You're eligible for this raffle or that raffle, and we never freaking win. And I would have to queue.
Wait, didn't we win those knives one time?
No, that was just hitting a minimum point
Okay.
threshold for. But like the raffles themselves with houses, cars, and trips
Mhm.
never won. And we would spend so much time after groceries. We're tired. The grocery is closing, and I'm filling up freaking raffle
I
tickets.
am though happy we never won cars or houses because I'm worried about how we would have handled all the paperwork.
How do we
and
flip that stuff? So,
Yeah.
because we're not gonna keep it, probably gonna sell it.
trips though would have been interesting.
Trip would have been nice.
So that was practically an hour talking about of all things groceries.
Of course, you could spend an hour talking about groceries.
But we still had a lot of fun. We were very grateful for everyone who commented in. My mom, if you're still watching, hi mom. And we hope you will join us again next time.
If you have questions or suggestions for future episodes, feel free to fill up the Google form at bit.ly Baduy Pride Ideas. We are running out of ideas, and so we talked about groceries. So maybe
Mhm.
want to do that. Reminder, we are interviewing Precious on Saturday. If you have questions you want to ask Precious, Paul, and Nicole, please
Mhm.
put them in the form.
And then tomorrow is our Thanksgiving.
We're going to do a
episode.
Thanksgiving episode. And
So-
feel free to join us, drink in hand, and think about what you are thankful for despite 2020.
Yes.
You can follow us on Twitter, all Toby No Shade, RG Suniko.
You could also check out our blog. That's baduypride.com for all the previous episodes and stuff about us.
Feel free to continue the conversation in the comments below and let us know what your grocery experience has been like. How has grocery changed for you since lockdown? And what do you miss? Yes, and of course, be sure to subscribe for notifications, whether on Facebook or YouTube, so you don't miss our next live stream. All right. Once again, I'm Rocky.
And I'm Toby.
And this is Baduy Pride. Have a good evening.